Okay, so this is serious. I know that a lot of our viewers have an opinion on it. We're going to talk about it. There was a scary moment yesterday at the U.S. Capitol during a press conference. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell suffered some sort of episode and froze mid-sentence. Take a look.
This week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Wait a minute. Are you good, Mitch?
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should I just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
But that was...
Yeah. Back in March, McConnell was hospitalized with a concussion after falling down. There are also reports that he's had other falls recently. Now, lots of experts are weighing in on what could have happened, including CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Listen.
And you have to wonder if someone is dehydrated. Is this some kind of medication side effect? But also, more seriously, was this a petit mal seizure, a mini seizure, so to speak, or even a transient ischemic attack, a sort of mini stroke? Again, that's speculation.
Aides for Mitch explained that he experienced some lightheadedness, but noted he was able to continue speaking shortly after. Still, this episode is raising a lot of questions about his health and if he's too old to serve. That's a big question lots of people have about President Biden. We've seen him also fall multiple times throughout his presidency. So DBL Nation, we need to hear from you. Should there be an age limit for lawmakers? Please go to dblvote.com to weigh in. That made me so uncomfortable.
I couldn't watch because my mom's had 7 of these TIAs or strokes, as you would say. And I am sorry, but if I were on that stand, you take him immediately to a hospital.
Why no one called 911 to me?
And he is a Secret Service group. They could have got him into the back door of an ambulance. I want to remind people, if you think you're having a stroke, time is brain tissue.
Right.
There are 3-hour stoppers for strokes that you need to get within the 3-hour time limit, or it means nothing. I have no idea why he wasn't surrounded and taken immediately. He should not have come back and spoken. I wish nothing but the best for Senator McConnell, honestly. But seeing that, I want people to remember fast. You have to make sure that you have the time is on your hand, ask them to smile, and if they're off, arms, raise your arms and then see if their facial is drooping. Anything like that, it's a 911 call, guys. It is a 911 call.
I'll say this, I think we can learn a lot from their response or lack thereof. I think that there's a lot of people that would like to give somebody their dignity and might not know that they're costing this person their life or some quality of their life. If there's an older person in our family, we're like, hey, that's Big Daddy, let him finish the Thanksgiving prayer like he's done for 55 years in a row. That might be your tradition. But in this case, Jeff has to step up. Jordan's got to step up. Somebody's got to say, hey, tradition ends this year. I need to get this person somewhere.
Something's wrong.
And I think we've seen in a lot of situations people trying to grant people their dignity and could end up costing their thing.
And we're all in agreement there. Now, where this gets to be a little bit controversial, because it's not just Mitch McConnell, it's Nancy Pelosi, it's
Dianne Feinstein.
So should there be term limits for lawmakers, in your opinion? Or age
That's tough. That's tough because there's different cognitive ability for different people of a certain age, right? Like my grandmother mowed her own lawn until she was 90 years old.
Right.
Some people you'd suggest maybe you should stop at 70, right? So there's different people. President Biden has the most important job in this world. This has nothing to do with me being a Trumper. I'm not a whatever you're saying out there. I'm talking about someone's age. It looks like he's losing it a little bit. We showed those 2 videos. He also fell off of his bike. When we see him live, there's things that he's not completely there. Speaking of cognitive ability, I'm not picking on Democrats. You guys got to stop with just picking sides and blindly going with that. Should there be an age limit? Perhaps. There's also something that you have an unfair bias from a certain age group that you are, right? Maybe I grew up with certain things that aren't allowed or you're not allowed to say. There definitely is, especially in this time. So when it comes to our Supreme Court, right? When it comes to our president, there's certain biases unconsciously that you might have. And when you get to a certain age, people think they don't have them, but you do, right? And if there's a certain age with the most important job in the whole world, You got to be there. And Al, I think you said it the best. Dignity is the #1 most important thing. I'm not picking on anybody here, but you got to leave some room for dignity, let them bow out with some grace. Still be part of it, right? We still want your opinion and things like that, but maybe not the face.
Well, sticking on the opinion subject for a brief moment, you know, with all the people that you listed that are 65 plus, 60 plus, is that representative of what our country looks like? I do understand making sure that we have people of all ages represented, but in this case, in our Congress, you could make the example that older folks are overly represented. I wouldn't mind having a couple 22-year-olds and
but here's the
27-year-old.
There is a minimum age limit. I just want to give the context here for Congress. So 25 years old you have to be, 30 for the Senate, 35 for a president. If there's a minimum age, should there not be some kind of maximum age limit, which you're saying? I also want to bring up the Supreme Court is a lifetime appointment.
That is not okay.
That is crazy.
That is not okay. And I'm
you
saying
can go
this,
that in.
and I love RBG, but RBG should not have waited until the very last moment to be in the Supreme Court. So I do think that there should be term limits for the Supreme Court. It is unfair that it is a lifetime appointment. That is ridiculous and insane. When it comes to our president and lawmakers, I do think there should be an age limit.
Or a cognitive test.
Or I guess a cognitive test. You know, people are going to argue that's against HIPAA violations. So yes, you would have to say that that cognitive test gets released. But we also know of a certain age, and I'm not trying to be ageist here at all. These are the most coveted positions in our world. These are not only the USA leaders, that trickles into global leaders. So,
but at some point you need experience too. So that you don't want to have someone too young.
80, I'm not saying too young,
right.
But 80 years old, 75 years old.
Right.
I mean, at some point, even if you are cognitively able in that moment, what's going to happen in the next 4 years during your term?
But Al said a great thing earlier. If you take a test like that, it's going to be weaponized. I want this guy tested. I want that guy tested. It's not going to be fair. It's going to be weaponized, like you said, Al.
And who gives the test?
Yeah,
It'll be a badge of shame, unfortunately. We have to figure out something because they speak for hundreds of thousands of people depending on your district.
Well said. All right, and 94% of our audience believe, yes, there should be an age limit for lawmakers. There you go.